Hello, 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 everybody. There we go. That light was intense. All right. Hi. Happy, what day is it? Thursday? Yeah, I think so. Anyways, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, hello, hello. As always, if you do not know me, my name is Natalie Marie. Welcome. If you see the live button up there in the corner, that means that congratulations, you have caught me live. If for some reason you are not seeing a red live button up there in the corner, that means that you are watching the replay. So if you are here live, please go ahead and say hi when you get here. Do not be a stranger. If you have caught this on the replay, go ahead and let me know by saying replay. I do like to kind of see when people jump on and when people watch it because it's just interesting for me, and also I can kind of judge timing that way. So anyways, hello, hello. Today, normally I have like notes and stuff, but I don't. I'm just like coming from the heart because I read something today and it just like really hit me. So I just wanted to come on and talk about this. So I read in this book today called Reclaiming Conversation, and it was super interesting. And I just kind of, I don't know, I thought that why not bring it to you all because, you know, we're here. We're all in this together, and I think we all have a tendency to do this to some extent. So do you remember the days before social media? Maybe some of you don't, but for those of us who do, and you would journal or you would write in a diary, right? And I don't know if any of you did that. I did. I remember as a kid, I kept a diary. My sister kept a diary. And also like in my adult life, like when I was really struggling with things, like, you know, when major things happened when I lost my dad and, you know, just life was just really hard, I would journal. And I don't really do that much anymore. Not as much as I should. And I think a lot of us don't. And it's interesting because in this book that I was reading, it was talking about how people do not really journal or write in a diary anymore because we post our lives on Facebook. And not that that's a horrible thing, but it's kind of a horrible thing. And I'm going to tell you why. So when you come to Facebook, there's so many things, and I'm not even sure where to start. So I'm just going to start with basically like social media in general, like consuming our lives, right? And it's come to a point, and we're seeing this a lot with children, that children are not learning empathy. They're not learning how to be empathetic towards each other and other people because so much of their conversations is done behind a screen, either on Facebook or through text message. They're not really learning how to have conversations. They're not learning how to relate to somebody. And so like if they say something mean, if you say something mean to somebody's face, you see the reaction and that impacts you, and that is how you learn empathy. But when you text something or you send it in a message, which this is so fitting because I kind of already planned on talking about this today, but I just got like a really nasty message from some random person on Facebook today, like literally right before I went live. So, you know, it's the universe, I'm sure of it. But when you say something to somebody mean, you know, through Facebook or text or whatever, you don't learn empathy. So that's one of the problems. The other problem is that because we are so used to constantly having our phones and constantly having this connection, people are not learning to sit in silence. Like nobody sits in silence anymore. And like I noticed this, like especially now that I've become aware of it, like if I'm reading a book, for example, and I hear my phone buzz, it's like an anxiety that I need to check it, right? Like I need to see what it is. There's this like fear that I'm going to miss something. So we have this like weird separation, like we feel like naked without our phone, right? And we don't know how to sit in silence anymore. And so like if you're sitting here and you start to feel bored, usually the first thing people do is they pick up their phone and they start scrolling through, right? And I even noticed this with like my boyfriend, like when we're driving, if he's at a stoplight or like a stop sign or like stuck in traffic, like he'll be picking up his phone and scrolling through because like we can't just sit and not do something, especially with Facebook generally or Instagram, whatever it is. And I'm getting to a point here, I promise. So because we are just so like into this like constantly checking Facebook, constantly posting on Facebook, we don't learn how to just sit in silence and process our thoughts. And I've noticed this a lot with myself. Like if something happens, if I'm upset or I'm excited, like the very first thing that I do is I either go to text a friend, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening right now. Or like if I'm in a situation where I feel really anxious, like I immediately am picking up my phone and I'm like texting somebody like, hey, I'm having anxiety, hey, whatever, right? And that's not necessarily a terrible thing, but it's what I do, right? I can't just sit here and feel the emotion. And so many of us do this. And so many of us go beyond like the texting a friend and they post on Facebook. Like if you had a bad day or something happened to you and you go and you post it on Facebook. And what happens when you go and you post it on Facebook is you stop yourself from feeling. You stop yourself from processing that emotion because now you're posting it and you're getting like an immediate response from somebody. You're immediately like, you've done something about that like emotion or feeling or action, whatever. You immediately have done something about it. And so you don't sit there and you don't feel it and you don't process it because now it's like, okay, I move on. That's not always terrible, but what happens is we stop processing completely. We stop going through these emotions completely. We stop feeling completely because Facebook has now become like our journal, right? And this maybe wouldn't be so terrible except for we don't journal on Facebook like we would journal in a journal. And there have been studies done on this. Like when somebody journals, like if I am journaling, like if I am writing in my journal, I will write down everything that I feel, every detail, doesn't matter what it is. The nasty things that I feel, the nasty things that I said, the way somebody made me feel, I will write it all down, right? Like you don't have a filter because there's nobody who's going to read this unless you give it to them to read. There's nobody who's going to read this. You can just pour it all out. And you can really process it and like get it out of your head and get it on paper and you pour it all out completely. But when we go to Facebook as now our new journal, our new diary, you go on Facebook and you're in performance mode, right? So your messages that you put out there, like I do share a lot of my life on Facebook, but it's filtered. I don't share everything. I don't share the deepest, darkest things, right? I don't share every emotion that I'm feeling. You go into performance mode, and often what people share is what they want other people to see or how they want other people to see them. And so what happens is instead of actually like feeling and being and going through those emotions and processing them and dealing with them, we either scroll through Facebook to forget about it, to avoid it, or we post on Facebook who we think we should be, who we want people to see us as, who we want to see us as, and we don't really get to be us. We don't really get to feel us. We don't really get to process that emotion. And it's generation wide. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're like a kid or an adult, but kids are really never learning because we're never teaching them to journal or sit in silence or just be alone. But it's with us too. I mean, it's with adults of all ages now. Like this is what's happening. Like we won't sit and process and feel. And this isn't a good thing. This prevents us from really dealing with our emotions and dealing with our struggles and dealing with our things. Now, I do encourage you to have positive affirmations, right? Like I put on Facebook the best parts of me. The parts of me that I want to be, the parts of me that I want to continue to develop. I want to be a positive, motivated, inspirational person. And oftentimes I am that way, right? So that's what I put on Facebook and that's what I allow myself to see myself as and allow other people to see myself as. But when I take in my journal and I write in my journal, I get to truly be who I am in the mess, in the ugly, and work through it. And sometimes you surprise yourself with the things that come out of your head. Sometimes you surprise yourself with the feelings you didn't even know that you were feeling. I did not know. I sat down and journaled today because I knew that if I was going to come on here and do this live, that I can't talk about something and preach something and tell anybody else to do something if I'm not doing it myself, right? Like, practice what you preach. So I made a point to make sure that I did journal today. And what I found when I journaled today is how insecure I had been feeling lately. And that's not where it started. It started with, this is going on in my relationship with my boyfriend. This is going on in my relationship with my friend, right? Whatever it is. And as I wrote, and as I wrote, and as I wrote, and as I emptied my head and emptied my mind, I came to this head where I was like, wow, I think I've been feeling really insecure. Why? And instead of letting somebody else tell me why or give me input, I was able to go through and figure out why. What are the things that are balance? Or we don't journal. I mean, I am such a huge proponent of journaling. Because sometimes when we sit in silence, we do get distracted, right? We start watching random things that are going on. But if you're sitting here and you're journaling, you pour it all out and you get it all out of your head. And you're able to walk through it and you're able to process it. But when you go and you post your bad day on Facebook or your feeling on Facebook, you don't go through that. You automatically start getting input from other people, whether it be positive or negative, but you're getting input from other people, which is not always a bad thing. But we stop allowing ourselves to learn how to process. And so I can tell you, when I got that really nasty message from somebody on Facebook, just right prior to going to this live, what I wanted to do is I wanted to screenshot that and I wanted to share it. Because I wanted validation from somebody else, or I wanted input. I just wanted to get rid of it. I just wanted it to go away. And I wanted other people to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that person would say that, that person sucks, whatever. But when I journal through it, I don't even have to do that. Because it's why did this affect me so much? Why did what they say hurt me? Because what they said was something that I already was feeling and thinking about myself. And it's not true. And then you can go have those conversations. Now that I have sat down and I have journaled about the things that are making me insecure, I can go to my boyfriend or my friend, whoever it is that I'm having those issues with, and I can say, you know what, I really sat down and I really thought about this. And I know that we've been having conflicts lately, and I think that this is why. Because I didn't realize it, but I'm feeling this way. And then you can have that conversation. Then you can ask for input from people on, this is where I am and this is why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling. How do I get past it? But we lose that. When social media becomes our diary, becomes our journal, we forget how to walk through emotions. We forget how to deal with emotions. We get so anxious and we can't be alone and we can't process and we can't empathize with other people. Because when somebody sent me that really nasty message, I wanted them to feel the same way that I felt. I wanted to lash back out. But then I realized that there's probably something that they're going through, which is why they sent it, which is why they said it. And I don't need to lash out. Because I was able to process that, and I was able to walk through that, and I was able to realize that what she said hurt me, because what she said was already something that I was feeling myself. But I know that it's not true. So, I know that was kind of all over the place. That's what happens when I don't take notes. But I wanted to bring that to you. So I think bottom line or moral of the story is we got to get back to journaling. We got to get back to even if it's just spending 5 or 10 minutes a day just in silence, putting the phone in a different room and thinking and feeling. And I would advocate journaling. Then it's okay to put on Facebook who we want to be, because you need that, right? You need that constant reminder. I have signs on my wall that say, just do it every day. You are, you have made this much money. I have my dream board, right? I have the car that I want up on my wall. I have these things, and I post on Facebook the person who I am constantly every day trying to be. But in my journal, I get to walk through those things, through those struggles that I'm going through as I'm trying to be that person. And that's what we start to miss. And that's where we need to get back to. And that's what we need to encourage our children to do. So with that, I'm gonna hop off. If you got value out of this, or you felt like somebody you know maybe should hear this, please share this video. It would mean so very much to me, and it could really change somebody's life, honestly. Somebody needs to hear this. So please like, comment, share, get the message out. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting me. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your encouragement and your love and your support. And I hope that you got value out of this. And I hope that it helped. I love you all. I will see you next time.